Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am here with a different setup. Instead of being on my iPhone, I'm in front of my computer with my mic, my webcam, my slides here, and we are gonna have so much fun today because today we are going to talk about our first big decision. So as I mentioned in the previous video, our first big decision is who is going to deliver the baby. Is it gonna be a midwife, a family doctor, or an OB? So there are a lot of factors to consider when making this decision. It really depends on your birth wishes or your birth plan, which depends on your beliefs, your traditions, and your values when it comes to birth. So keep those in mind when making this decision. Again, there's no right or wrong answer here. It all boils down to you. It is your decision. You know what's best for you. I am just here to help you with an algorithm or an acronym that I learned from my AHS birth classes that helped me in making this decision. So let's break it down. So I learned the acronym iBRAIN. Ultimately, this has helped me in making decisions throughout my pregnancy, and the first time I use it is when making this big decision of who is gonna deliver my baby. So I'm gonna show you how I broke it down when it came to making my decision. It could be different than yours, and that is okay. So what does iBRAIN really mean? Obviously, the most common is BNR, which is benefits and risk. Just like our regular pros and cons, whenever we're making a decision, it's extremely important to consider these. So the next is A, which stands for alternatives. Are there alternatives? What are the alternatives? It's important to know what your options are when it comes to making decisions. Sometimes I make a small note that there are alternatives, but I won't consider them. So now we got I for information. Is there any additional information that is important to you? Like maybe you would like to know how the process works or the timing, especially timing. If you're a planner like me, then you know how important timing is. And then we have N for not yet or no. Is it emergent? Do you have to make the decision right now? Oftentimes we forget that doing nothing is also an option. It's important to know what happens if you don't do anything right now, or if you can make this decision right now, or if you just let it be. And then for the small letter I up there is actually the most important. It's your instincts. Trust your instincts, mamas. It's there for a reason. I feel like ever since I got pregnant, my instincts got stronger and better. Your intuition is there to help you and work with you in your favor. Like I always say, you know what's best for you. So now I'm gonna show you how I use this acronym to make my decision. But before I proceed, I just want to reiterate that every person, every opinion, every belief is different. Now you may come up with a different opinion than mine or different belief than mine, and that is okay. I am just here to show you how I use this acronym in my favor. Okay, so let's start. I already created the table right here. You can see it on the screen. I'm going to put midwife and family physician doctor on the two columns. Okay, I know what you're thinking. What about the OB? From what I gathered here in Canada, if you have a low-risk pregnancy, that's the only time you can pick between midwife or family doctor. When you have a high-risk pregnancy, then you are automatically referred to an OB. So because of that, we are not considering OB today. Alright, let's start with BNR like we did earlier. Obviously, there are a lot of benefits for both, but I'm going to show you the main ones that ultimately made my decision and which are my non-negotiables, and they are the most important to me. So for midwife, one benefit that I really love is that they have smaller teams. Here in Canada, there are often 2 to 3 midwives in a team on rotation, so you are more familiarized on who is going to deliver your baby. As with family doctor or physician here in Alberta, we have bigger teams, which is around 6 to 10 doctors. So I was told in the initial meeting that they are not quite sure if I'm gonna meet every one of them. So we have no control if I'm gonna be familiar with who's gonna deliver my baby, which I added here on cons or risk. Now, depending on your birth beliefs and how you want to be supported, if you love the idea of having a bigger team, then definitely put that under benefits for you. I know I was seriously considering one of this doctor group that I really, really like because they have a bigger team. That also means that they have an extensive coverage. They have nurses, social workers, they even have a doula, which can be helpful in many instances. So that is a huge benefit for me for going to the family doctor, because in case there are complications or conditions or problems that arise, that even if it's not related to pregnancy per se, they can help you in every shape or form. Now the opposite goes with midwife. The risk that they have is they are strictly for pregnancy and births only. So I have a friend who developed a skin rash towards the end of her pregnancy, and her midwife had to drop her from the program, so she had to switch last minute to a family doctor. So she switched to a family doctor who helped her with the skin rash, and turned out it didn't really affect the pregnancy at all. So that's one thing to really consider. So next we have is alternatives. So let's just put each other's name on this one. So information is another one I could write so much about, which I did, but for the purposes of this video not being super long, we're just gonna write the important things like the distance. So both of them were 15-minute drive, so that they're equal distance. Both of them have the same hours. Oh, so this one's a big one. So when it came to midwife, you can do home births. Family doctors, they cannot do home birth, they can only do hospital birth. So if that's really important to you, then I would put that in benefits, even, or risk, really up to you. I just put that as an added information, because even though I really am leaning towards a home birth, I couldn't really do that right now because I'm living with a lot of people, and it's just not ideal for my situation. And in my opinion, hospital birth is not a deal breaker for me. Experiencing home birth is going to be a luxury for me, and something that I would look forward to in the future, but not for this birth. So another thing that I put under information instead of benefits and risk, because it's not really that important to me, but it's a nice to know, that midwife have a more natural and homeopathic approach, and doctors, they have intensive knowledge when it comes to assisted births, like forceps, vacuum, and pain relief medications even. When I spoke to both of them, they are both willing to help with like switching positions and understanding what your birth wishes are. Oh, and I forgot to mention that part of the doctor group that I really considered, they had a free doula on service as well. So if you are looking to have a doula on your birth plan, that is also available without additional charge. So I put that in right there. So next up is the big no or not yet. If you don't pick right now, what will happen? So here in Alberta, there's a high demand for midwifery, which means there's a long wait list. You might not even be able to get in if you waited too long. So here's the thing, if you are just considering it, even if you're not sure that you want a midwife, go ahead and apply for a midwife if you're here in Alberta, because there is a super high demand for midwives. The wait list is so long, and it really depends if they are available or if they want to take in your application. To be honest, I didn't know about this. I was just so blessed and lucky that one of my mama friends that I secretly told about my pregnancy actually mentioned this to me, and we actually had like an hour phone call about it, and she explained to me what the difference is. In my experience, I applied when I was 9 weeks pregnant, and I didn't get a reply until like 22 weeks. So that's how long it takes. And some people, it even takes longer. It's one of the things I really prayed for. So I put the link down below in the description box on where you can apply for midwifery here in Alberta. And then for the doctors, there was typically no rush between 20 to 24 weeks. I had the luxury to be referred to the doctor group that I like around 20 weeks. And that's when I met one of their team members. She was really nice. I really liked them. And then 2 weeks later, I got a reply from one of the midwifery clinics, and I was able to meet the midwife as well. So I'm really blessed that I got to meet both of them. I prayed constantly to God to give me more clarity on making this decision. Obviously, because it is a huge decision, I was really on edge when it came to picking between midwife and doctor, to when I was able to meet both of them, I was able to rely on my instincts, which is the first letter I right there. So ultimately, both of them were really, really nice. I was just more comfortable with the midwife, and I just felt more like myself when I was speaking with her. It felt like a really, really safe place. So that's it. That's how I made my first big decision with all this chart right here. I hope you learned something new in this channel. Thanks again for watching, and comment down below on how your first big decision went. If you use the iBRAIN method, if it really helped you, let me know. I would love to hear your stories. Did you go with a midwife, a doctor, an OB? I love reading your stories. Don't forget to subscribe and like. I'll see you again on the next video. Bye!